Okay, the topic of this video is myocarditis and the Moderna shot. I have not been diagnosed with myocarditis, and it wouldn't matter anyways because it would be gone. That's my interpretation of what I went through, and I'm gonna explain. So, the explanation of why I think it is gonna come about halfway through this video. I'm gonna give you my background. So I saw a video, okay? I saw a video on Redacted a couple days ago, and they came out with, they're coming out with a lot of results from these tests, and one of the tests these were doing was not by the drug company, okay? So when it's not done by the drug company and it's done by a private people, those are the real tests. And these were based on people who got their shots, and after they got their shots, they followed them and they tested them. So the difference between this test was that they were looking for things, okay? That's versus in other tests, people coming forward after having things. So I had an allergic reaction, and I believe it was myocarditis, and I'll explain that. So, yep. So I told my dad. I said this test shows that 5%, or sorry, 1 in 5. That's 20% of people who got the Moderna shot, and this was a study that was just done. It's a real study. That's 20% of people. So my dad looked in on the study. He's a leading diagnostician for veterinary medicine, so he studies diseases. He's like the head person in Canada for a certain disease around here. And he looked at it and he said it actually turns out it was like 2.8%. I forget why it came down to like this blood test or something. I almost stopped my video there. But think about that, 2.8%. Sorry, it was half of that. So it'd be about 10% is what I mean. That's a large number, okay? That's horrible. Myocarditis. I've been I don't like making videos anymore about health topics because it's just, I stopped doing that because it was negative, number one, and I was too sick anyways because of the shot that I got. So I've been really unlucky. I have difficulty speaking. If you're watching my video, you've never watched me. I have dysphonia of my throat. I've been very unlucky through my life. I had been made to feel like a hypochondriac for almost 20 years because I got a pain disorder, intractable pain, in 2004, and it was caused by a really abnormal way. It was like a drug reaction, and I got seizures, and they were really violent, and I tore my neck, and pain started in my neck, then spread over my whole body. It's called the nociplastic pain syndrome. It's like CRPS, but full body. And no one would tell me what it was. And I only got it diagnosed after the 18th year, so I went through hell. Just as painful as CRPS, same thing. Then adhesive arachnoiditis. I went 13 years without people being able to tell me what it was. I was getting tests, a lot of tests. This has just been the common thread throughout my life. Really uncommon things happen to me. I have autism, so I don't know if that has anything to do with sensitivity. But like my pains didn't start in regular ways. I hit my coccyx, and so that's what caused adhesive arachnoiditis. But I was always subject to medication reactions. I just went through a lot of different reactions in my life. I don't know if it has anything to do with attention deficit, but definitely autism. I was very prone to certain, and it wouldn't be it wouldn't be regular side effects or even severe side effects. It would be adverse side effects. It was just always that way. And so I'm going to take you back to 20. So this is it. I concluded that myself that this is what it had to be, because the things I went through, the way it began, the fact that it was from the injection, it leads me to believe that was it. So, pardon me, just give me a second. It's very difficult to speak. I got a diagnosis just to show you the things that happened to me are very uncommon. I ended up, because of this, because of the Moderna shot, I ended up, and again, I had to get really special tests to find out what was causing such severe abdominal pain, gallbladder attacks. They're like, you don't have gallstones, and it was getting to the point where I thought that they thought that, here's this hypochondriac guy, and that's the feeling I started to get. I can't even take my hand and put it in my gallbladder. That's how much it hurts. I get a lot of gallbladder attacks. So I ended up, because of that injection, with something called hyperkinetic gallbladder, or biliary hyperkinesia in men, because it usually happens in women, because of, it's like intraluminal pressure. Most likely caused by pregnancy from giving birth. But in men, it's 8 times less common, so it's like 1 in 250,000 or even more than that. I get very unlucky with these things. But I got that diagnosed with a HIDA scan. And hey, Jackknife, by the way, I know you're still around. I just wanted to add in, just in case I forget, in May, just to show you how unlucky my life has been, okay? I was selling candles, and I was just starting to do it and liking it, and I was walking around doing it at the time. I'm biking doing it now. And I came home, and I wasn't feeling that well. The next day I woke up, and when I was working out, I was getting chills as I was working out, and I didn't know what was happening. That went away, and the day after that, I asked my dad if he wanted to go for a walk in the woods, like out in nature. And when he picked me up, and I can get very irritable because of my abdominal pain, it's just normal. That's what it does to me. I knew something was wrong. I ended up getting in an argument with him because I was so irritable. And so I went home. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what. And I woke up the next morning. I couldn't take my opiates. I couldn't take anything for my pain. I almost touched out again. And I had the stomach flu. I had gastroenteritis. I didn't know how it happened. But I went to the hospital. I had to call 911 because I was like vomiting all over my floor, all over the sink. Like, it was like out of control, and I couldn't take my opiates, and that's a horrible thing to happen to me. So I called them, and I went there, and they told me that I needed to see a surgeon. I'm like, okay, I was out of it. Okay, they had me up on like this anti-nauseant that made me really drowsy. They had to give me pain shots because I couldn't take my opiate there, and they said, and I didn't understand the significance of this till later. They said that your CT scan says that you have intussusception, and they tried to explain what it was. I was out of it, man. Like, I was going through absolute hell. There was something else other than the stomach flu. That's bad enough, but there was something else. I had tremendous leg pain, and I didn't know why. It just wasn't normal with gastroenteritis. And so they said I had intussusception. So you can go look that up. And saw a surgeon. They did another CT scan a number of hours later, and they said, okay, you don't have it now. So what is that? Like, I only started looking it up when I was getting better, and that means that in most cases, I'll just give you an example. Say you have your say that's your that's your colon, okay? That's your transverse colon, and in your transverse colon, like intussusception means your colon folds up like a telescope. That happened to me when I got this, but it says like in 90% of cases it's caused by some growth inside, like cancer, and because you need a growth sticking up for the bowel. The bowel contracts, okay, as it moves stuff along, and when it does that, if you have something called the lead point, it just means something is sticking up. It can cause the bowel to fold in on itself. So that's what happened to me. That was 2 in a million. 2 in a million. That was the chances of that happening. And I only understood after what had happened, and I didn't feel good after. I was left with like a very severe swollen abdomen. I had to go back too because I'm getting worse attacks. And the only solution to this is to have your bowel dissected all over again. The trouble I went through already, and so I haven't luckily gone through that, and I hope that doesn't happen. So that's the types of things that I go through. So with this, I'm going to tell you what happened to me. Just give me a little break here. I have to take breaks in my voice. I'm going to tell you what happened on June, and this more difficult to speak happened because of the abdominal pain that I'm left with after that, after the Moderna shot. I have dysphonia in my throat, so it affects my stomach, it affects my esophagus, and it strangles my throat. And so, just give me a second. I didn't feel supported at all by people. Like, this was new. Like, I felt forced by society to get it, and especially where I live is in Canada. It's especially bad. You can't go into a restaurant, you can't go into Walmart or something like that. That's what they were starting to say, and in some places they were doing that. So here I am with adhesive arachnoiditis and other intractable pain disorders, autoimmune stuff. I've been worried about 6 months prior to that about getting it, and I even spoke about it with people. I was saying I'm worried about this. But then I felt forced, or I just felt I was going to be left out of everything. That's what I thought, and so I got it. I got it on June 4th or 5th, 2021. And the next day, so I got it around 4 p.m. or something like that in the afternoon. And then the next day, the next night, I was sitting at my dinner, and at the end of my dinner, my pain started to get really bad in my body, and it was just unusual. It was as if like a flu were coming on or something. I don't know. I went to bed that night in a lot of physical pain. Excuse me. I woke up at 4 or 5 in the morning, so it's just like a few hours after, and I woke up with a lot of things wrong, but it was one thing in specific that woke me up. When I woke up, my arms were shaking, my legs were shaking. I haven't had a cold or a flu in almost 20 years, okay? So or fevers or anything like that. And so I woke up and I noticed like my legs were shaking, my arms were shaking. I took one arm, put it on the other. I couldn't stop the shaking. It was that bad. I was really, really sick, and I woke up because I couldn't breathe. That's why I woke up. I told that to people. I've said this over and over. That's why I woke up, and I was scared. And that lasted for about 4 hours. I didn't do anything about it. I was so sick. I don't even know how to explain how sick I was. That whatever this was affected my heart for sure. So I remember getting out of my bed, going to urinate, and I felt so much pain in, I don't know, it was like my bladder. It was almost like a kidney stone. I was getting this electric shocks. I don't know what this thing had done to me, okay? I have kidney stones. That wasn't it. Finally, when I had to bring myself to where I'm standing here right now by my counter, I took my pain meds and I was scared. Why? Because I had so much abdominal pain. And I have this diagnosed as gallbladder dyskinesia, but no, that's the right side. This was both sides. This was just both sides, through the back, everywhere. I was in absolute hell. I could only hold on to my counter, which I'm holding on to right now. I did that for at least a month. 6 days, I was like this. 6 days, I was like I'm explaining what happened at the beginning. I had a fever, I had the chills, I had the shakes, I had abdominal pain, but not just that. My heart was pounding, pounding, pounding. This heart thing went on for a number of months, and sometimes it was on and off. I don't know how to explain it any longer. It was so long ago. What happened there caused some type of trauma to me. And no matter how sick I've been in my life since I've been here, I still continue to work out. I still walk. And the only time I've ever had to ask anyone to accompany me, I had to call my dad and say, please go for a walk with me. As I was walking, he didn't notice because he's just used to seeing me in pain. I had trouble putting my one foot in front of the other. And sorry, my voice is going. On all these different walks that I was going on a number of times, and I'm also diagnosed with PACs and PVCs, like premature contractions, like huge adrenaline rushes you get. I have that when I get tired or under like way too much stress, but I knew it was my heart, and I would go out for a walk, and I'd go walk out in the park, and as I was walking, I could have lay down on the ground and fallen asleep and probably woken up like in like 5 hours. I felt like I was gonna faint. I felt like I was gonna pass out. And I'm the type of person that won't go to a hospital. I'll just try to let it pass. Although, because of this, I've been to the hospital likely since that shot no less than 40 times. Pardon me. 40 times since June 4th or 5th, 2021. 40 times. I got all the tests done. I spoke to my family doctor, and you know what? It was day 6 that I brought myself to my local hospital. My local hospital has hurt me, okay? In my history, they have hurt me physically. Not physically, sorry. I mean, like, they've caused things to happen to me. I wrote a book about it. That's just another part of my story, but here I am with this huge rash on my abdomen. It's up on my chest. It's up my neck. At that point, they didn't know much about any of these shots, and I felt so stupid. I was in there, and like uh, he couldn't disclose anything. They were very uncomfortable. Let's just put it that way. My symptoms come and go, come and go. Um, I don't know. This is my guess that it was my heart because all the things that happened, breathing, my heart was pounding for months that way, and it took in all, it took, and you can't when you get myocarditis, you can't locate it. You can't like it heals. So it's my guess that it was myocarditis, considering the symptoms. Like when I look at that list, that's what happened. Those are the things. And not only that, I felt so unsupported. I mean, what can my family doctor do, right? But when you go to the ER, guys, I was, like 125 pounds. I went down to 100 pounds. I went down to 100 pounds because of this. I was so sick. I thought I was gonna die. And I phoned, I phoned my pharmacy quite a few times. I phoned, like you're supposed to report it to your city. I forget, like every city has a certain responsibility to look at events that happen surrounding this and stuff. I called them. I'm like, I want to sue these people. Like, I'm not joking. Like, these types of things happen throughout my life. That's what I think happened, and I think it's happening to a lot of people, and I think a lot of people are probably going undiagnosed. And in my case, I think I was really sensitive to it, likely because of autoimmunity, but because I'm wired that way with autism and attention deficit difficulties. And then, I didn't really talk about intussusception, but that could have been very, very serious. And I'm not joking. Like, most people have to get surgery and have to get their bowel resected. So, I guess I count myself lucky.